The queue snaked through the vast concourse, a shimmering river of scales, fur, and bioluminescence. Millions upon millions, all gathered for the same purpose, a chance to meet the millionaire, the last relic of a vanished species. From across the galaxy, they had come, drawn by a shared history and a profound sense of closure. I, Xyla, a humble historian from the Andromedan archives, stood among them. My scales tingled with a mixture of trepidation and anticipation. This was a pilgrimage of a lifetime. A chance to stand before history. The air buzzed with a low hum of anticipation. Whispers, translated by the universal translator implants, drifted through the throng. Stories of human ingenuity, tales of their destructive power. Each species carried their own memories of humanity, their own scars. We were a galaxy forever marked by their presence, their absence, and now only one remained. The first trial was a brutal test of memory and knowledge. Projected on colossal screens that ringed the concourse, images flickered to life. Scenes from Earth's history, the pyramids, the Colosseum, the Eiffel Tower, all monuments to a lost civilization. Each image was accompanied by a series of questions designed to assess our understanding of human culture, their triumphs and their follies. The questions came thick and fast. Dates, names, inventions, all demanding instant recall. A collective groan rippled through the crowd as thousands faltered, their hopes dashed against the unforgiving wall of history. I answered steadily, my mind a whirlwind of facts and figures gleaned from decades spent poring over ancient records. Human history had been my life's work, and now it was my salvation. The concourse, once overflowing, now held a fraction of its original occupants. Millions had been whittled down to thousands. The air, once thick with nervous chatter, was now heavy with the silence of the fallen. The second trial was far more insidious. We were ushered into individual chambers bathed in a cold, clinical light. A single screen flickered to life, displaying a human face. It was a young woman, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and despair. A voice, synthesized and devoid of emotion, echoed through the chamber. It instructed us to analyze the woman's emotional state, to delve into the depths of her despair and articulate the reasons behind it. This was not a test of knowledge, but of empathy. It was a challenge to comprehend the emotional landscape of a species that no longer existed. The woman on the screen, I learned, was named Sarah. Her image was a digital reconstruction, a ghost from a time long past. She had lived during the final days of Earth, her life a microcosm of the chaos and destruction that had consumed her planet. Through her eyes, I witnessed the collapse of human civilization. The devastating wars, the environmental devastation, the slow, agonizing death of a once vibrant world. It was a sobering reminder of the power humans wielded, both for good and for ill. They were a species capable of breathtaking beauty and unimaginable cruelty. They had reshaped the galaxy in their image, leaving behind a legacy of technological marvels and ecological scars. Their insatiable curiosity had driven them to explore the stars, to colonize distant worlds, to leave their mark on the very fabric of the cosmos. But their ambition was often their downfall, their reach exceeding their grasp. The trials continued, each one designed to test a different aspect of our understanding of humanity. We were challenged to interpret their art, to decipher their music, to comprehend the complexities of their philosophical and religious beliefs. With each passing trial, the weight of history pressed down on me, a tangible reminder of the immense responsibility that lay on our shoulders. We were not just vying for a chance to meet the last human, we were competing for the right to represent our species, to speak on behalf of the countless beings who had been touched by humanity's legacy. The burden of their memory, their triumphs and their failures rested heavily on our shoulders. We were the curators of their past, the guardians of their legacy. Only 100 remained, 100 individuals, each representing a different species, each carrying their own unique perspective on humanity's legacy. The air crackled with a palpable tension. We were rivals, yes, but we were also united by a shared grief, a profound sense of loss for a species that had shaped us all. We'd spent weeks, months even, immersed in human history, reliving their joys and sorrows, their triumphs and failures. We had laughed with them, cried with them, and raged against their follies. In a strange way, we had come to know them, to understand the complexities of their nature. And in that understanding, a strange empathy had blossomed within us. We mourned their passing, not just as a species, but as a force that had shaped the very fabric of our universe. The final trial took place in the Chamber of Whispers, a cavernous hall filled with the soft murmur of a million voices. The walls were adorned with holographic projections, each one a fragment of human history, a whispered secret from a bygone era. We were tasked with piecing together these fragments, with weaving a coherent narrative from the scattered threads of the past. It was a test of intuition, of our ability to see the connections between seemingly disparate events, to understand the underlying currents that had shaped human destiny. Days turned into nights as we toiled tirelessly, our minds stretched to their limits. The air grew thick with exhaustion, but we pressed on, driven by a shared determination to honor the memory of the species that had come before us. Section 8. The last question, defining humanity. The final challenge was deceptively simple. Define humanity in a single word, one word that encapsulated the essence of their being, the totality of their existence. I stared at the blank screen before me, my mind awash in a sea of possibilities. Love, hate, curiosity, despair, each word held a grain of truth, a flicker of recognition, but none felt wholly encompassing. And then it struck me. The one word that defined humanity in all its messy, contradictory glory was resilience. Throughout their history, humans had faced countless challenges, endured unimaginable hardships, and yet they had always persevered. They had a remarkable capacity for adaptation, for innovation, for picking themselves up from the ashes and starting anew. It was this resilience, this indomitable spirit, that had allowed them to conquer a planet, explore the stars, and leave an indelible mark on the universe. Section 9, Face to Face. A moment across millennia. I stood before the chamber, my heart pounding in my chest. The doors slid open, revealing a dimly lit room, and there, in the center, sat the millionaire. He was ancient, his skin like parchment paper stretched thin over bone. His eyes, though clouded with age, still held a spark of intelligence, a flicker of the fire that had once burned brightly within him. He looked at me, a flicker of recognition in his eyes. Perhaps he saw in me the millions who had come before, the countless lives that had been touched by his kind. "You have done well," he rasped, his voice a dry whisper. "You have shown a deep understanding of my people, of their strengths and weaknesses, their triumphs and failures." His gaze held mine, and for a moment I felt a connection across millennia, a bridge between two vastly different species united by the shared experience of existence. Section 10. The End of an Era. A mercy killing, he continued, his voice barely a whisper now. He spoke of his long life, of the friends and loved ones he had lost, of the pain of watching his species fade into memory. He spoke of the guilt he carried, the burden of being the last of his kind. He asked for release, a final act of mercy to end his long and lonely existence. And in that moment, I understood. I understood the terrible burden he carried, the weight of 1,000,000 years pressing down on him. I understood that my true purpose here was not to celebrate humanity's past, but to grant its last son peace. With a heavy heart, I activated the device. It was painless, I was assured, a swift and merciful end to an era. Section 11. Silence falls. The universe remembers. The chamber fell silent. The weight of that moment, the gravity of what I had done, pressed down on me. The last human was gone, his long journey finally over. I emerged from the chamber, the weight of the galaxy on my shoulders. The crowds had dispersed, leaving behind an eerie silence. The journey to meet the millionaire was over. But the journey to understand humanity, to grapple with its legacy, was just beginning. We, the inheritors of their legacy, were tasked with carrying their memory forward, with learning from their mistakes and building a better future. The universe was vast, silent now, but it remembered. It would always remember the species that had dared to reach for the stars, the species that had burned so brightly, if only for a fleeting moment in cosmic time.